Hello students, we're back. Okay, in this lesson we're going to learn a little bit more about the real world situations. We're going to learn about simple and compound interest. Well, you say, what is simple and compound interest? Alright, so here we go. Simple and compound interest. Let's start with the simple interest. Simple interest earnings are paid on a fixed amount of money or principal. The table shows the simple interest on an investment of $2,000 with an interest rate of 3% for 4 years. Okay, so you're like, okay, so I don't understand any of this, right? Okay, so let's think of it this way. When you go to the bank, or if you guys, some of you guys have bank accounts, all right? If you leave your money there, like let's say you start an account with, let's pretend that it is this, $2,000. Well, that's called your principal. That's your fixed amount of money you started with. That is the beginning amount, okay? So let's say we're investing it, you put it in the bank, and the bank's going to use it, and they're going to pay you 3% interest rate for 4 years, okay? So you don't know the amount of time, but the bank's going to tell you, okay, for letting us use your $2,000, we're going to pay you 3% of that money, okay? And this is where interest, this right here is what you call your interest. If you put $2,000 in their principal, and the bank is going to pay you 3%, that is called the interest, okay? They're going to pay you for letting them use your money. And it works vice versa. When you borrow money from the banks, they say, well, we're going to charge you this much percent for using our money. This is the other way around. So you pay interest to them, but when you have money in the bank, they pay interest to you. Okay? So basically, this is the way it works. You have your principal, and you have your interest rate. Let's say you left your money in there for 4 years. Okay? It says here that your interest earned is going to be $2,000 times the rate. Now notice how the interest rate here is in percent form, and your interest rate here is in decimal form. So that's one thing that from this lesson that you need to take out. You have to convert all your percent interest rates into decimal form. So we know that 3% is equivalent to 0.03%. So if you divide this number by 100, the decimal will move to the left 2 times, and that's how you get to 0.03. So here it is, 2,000 times 0.03 times 4. All right? So determine the total interest earned in 4 years. So for simple and compound interest, guys, you're going to have to use your calculators a lot, because you're going to have to be multiplying the decimals. For simple interest, it's not so bad. But when you get to compound interest, you'll see how much more difficult it becomes. So basically what we want you to learn is the main idea of what simple interest and compound interest is. So here we go. So we multiply 2,000. I'm going to use a calculator for special effects here. Or maybe I can show you here. Let me see. Where's my calculator? There it is. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take our 2,000. We're going to multiply that times 0.03, and then we're going to take that and multiply it times 4 years, which is right there. And that will equal $240 interest. So we have here 2,000 times 0.03 times 4 years is equal to $240 interest. This is just the interest. What you want to know is that, so if you started with $2,000, right, and in 4 years you earn $240 interest. Let's see, $240 interest. So the interest that you earned was $240. All right, but you started with $2,000, so that means that you have to add your principal to the interest that you got. So that means that $2,000 plus $240, that will give you your new balance. So in 4 years, you will not only have $2,000, but you will have a total of $2,240. So this part right here is the interest that you earn. Interest that you earn. But then you take your interest and you add it to your principal that you started off with. So we add your 240 plus the 2,000. That means that your new balance became 2,240. So it's good for you because, I mean, this is money that the bank is paying you for letting them use their money. Okay, so let's go to the compound interest, which is going to be the more difficult part one. All right, but if with the calculators, we should be able to keep it nice and easy. Let's see what we can do here. Compound interest. Earnings are calculated on the original amount plus, this is the important part here, plus accumulated interest. The principal increases each year based on interest earned. The table shows how compound interest on an investment of $2,000 with an interest rate of 3% grows each year for 4 years. So if we analyze this table here, we're going to use the same interest rate that we used. Okay, so the principal times the percent rate times the number of years here. As you can see, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So what compound interest does is that it takes it compounds your interest for every year. But then it takes your interest and it adds it to the next year. And then it multiplies it again and then adds it to the next year. And then multiplies it again and then it adds it to the next year. And then for the 4th year, you would have to do the same thing to get your total compound interest. So let's go ahead and see how it works here with the calculator. So we're going to take the 2,000 times 3%, which we know already that it's 0.03 in decimal form, times 1 year. So this 2,000 times 0.03 times 1. And then we're going to add it to this number, to your original number. Let's go ahead and do this on the calculator pretty quick. All right. How can I make my calculator smaller? All right. Let's go ahead and move it to the left. It's not working. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and move it to this side. Now let's move it a little further. You know what? Let's move this a little bit over. All right, perfect, right there. No, you still don't get it. All right, let's make this a little smaller. All right. Now let's go ahead and move it to the left. All right, seems like that should do it. All right, let's try it there. Here we go. So 2,000 times 0.03 times 1 equals 60 bucks. Okay, so this is your interest for the first year. We're going to go ahead and add this to your 2,000. So 60 plus 2,000 equals 2,600. So there you go, 2,600. That was your interest for that first year. Now you take this number, you multiply it times 0.3 times 1 again. So this number times 0.03 times 1 equals $61. So now we are in $61 more and 80 cents. So we're going to add this number to this number here, to 2,060. So that plus 2,000 2,060, and we get our new balance, 2,121 with 80 cents. 2,121 with 80 cents. So now you take that number, multiply it times 0.3 times 1 again, times 0.03 times 1. That gives you your new interest. Since this is a 4, we have to round this to 65. So 63.65. Now this plus your old interest that you had. So we're going to add this to 2,121, 2,121 with 80 cents. And there's our new balance. 2,185, 2,185, 45 cents. Okay? Now you got to take that because we're barely on the third year. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's the fourth year, but you have to get it at the end of the fourth year. So we have to do it one more time. So you take that money, that new balance times 0.03 times 1, and there's your new interest rate. Since this is a really big number, you always have to round to the hundredths place. So this will be 65.56. So now you take this number and you add it to your old balance. Plus 2,185 with 45 cents. And that gives you your ultimate balance right there. So it says, determine the total interest earned in 4 years. Well, the total interest earned in 4 years was $251. All right? All right. But what is the new balance? The new balance is 2,251. So this is the difference. This is the part right here in interest. 251. Let's go ahead and round it to 251. So if you take a look at this question here, determine the total interest earned in 4 years was $251. So that's good for you because, I mean, if you don't touch your money and you just leave it there, so $251 of interest. Okay? Now, I think the question also asked, what would be our new balance there? Well, if you add that to 2,000, then you would say that plus your principal that you started with, that puts you at $2,251. Ignore that. That's nothing. $2,251. In these two scenarios, which interest plans earns the most interest? Well, we knew that up here you only earned $240 there. This one earned you $251. So in this case, you would want to go with the compound interest. All right. So basically, the thing that you need to know that if the rate is the same and the amount of years is the same, compound interest is the way to go. But then things start changing. Let's say they give you a interest rate at 4 years, but then they want to do it a compound interest for maybe 2 or 1 year. Then you're going to have to look at the differences between the two of them and then compare to see which one will be best for you. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next page. All right, so now we get to the real nitty-gritty part here. To calculate simple interest, use the formula I is equals PRT, where I, this guy right here, is the interest earned. P is the principal, the money that you start with. So P is the principal, all right, or amount invested. R is the interest rate, and expressed as a decimal. So it's very important. R is the interest rate expressed as a decimal, and T is the time invested in years. Okay, so interest is equal to the principal times the rate in decimal form times the time in years. So if you would want to make yourself a little thing like that, you would say interest is equal to the principal beginning balance times the rate in decimal form times the time in years. That's what the formula actually tells you. The interest you're going to earn on the beginning balance that you start with times the rate in decimal form times the number of years that you leave it in the bank is going to give you a number that's called the interest. Then you take that interest and you add it to your beginning balance to give you what your new balance would be after so many years. So here we go. To calculate compound interest that is compounded or added annually, use the simple interest formula for each single year, but add the interest to obtain the new starting balance each year. Well, this one right here was just a problem that we did in the previous page, okay, where you have to do the same formula for year one and then add it to the interest to your balance, and then for another year and then add it to your new balance, and then do the same formula again, add it to the new balance until you complete those 4 years that they ask you for. So let's go ahead and do an example real quick. Okay, here we go. Kendron deposits $1,000 into an account that earns 4% simple interest each year. Calculate the interest he earns after 3 years. Okay, so they give us the principal, and I would say to do this as your hints. There's your P, all right, into an account that earns 4%. Here's your rate, right there. Simple interest each year. Calculate the interest earned after 3 years. So right here is your time. So P tar T. So P times your R times your T. All right, so here we go. We started with $1,000. Now we have to convert our percent into a decimal, so that becomes 0.04, then times 3 years. So here's your P, here's your R, here's your T again. All right, so once you multiply here, 1,000 times 0.3, here we go. 1,000 times 0.04 here. So that you know 0.0004, and 0 times all that becomes 0. So let's count the decimal places we got to do. 1, 2, 1, 2. So it seems like it's 40. Yes, 40. Now we got to take that number, because we just did this right here. We just did this. This is 40. Now we got to multiply it times 3. So take that 40, multiply it times 3. At 0 times 4 is 12. So $120 equals the interest earned. All right, so the interest earned is $120. Now there's another question I ask you, well, what's the new balance after 3 years? Well, you take your interest and you add it to your principal that you started with. So you started with $1,000 and then you earned $120 interest. So your new balance is $1,120. That's how it works. Okay, so that would be good for you if you have a bank account in the bank. All right, let's see how it works with compound interest. Marcy deposited $1,000 into a savings account that earned 4% compound interest compounded annually. Compounded means more than once, right? Each year. Calculate the interest Maurice will earn after 3 years, round to the nearest cent. So here we go once again. Here's your principal, here's your rate, and here's your time. Okay? So what you're going to do this time is that you're going to do that. You're going to multiply the principal times the rate times the time, 1 year. Then you take this balance and you add it to the balance that you had before. So 1,000 plus 40 is 1,040. Then you take this and then you perform the simple interest formula again. So 1,040 times 0.04 times 1 gives me $41. So for the next year, now you've earned $41.60 interest. So you take this number and you add it to this number. So now you have $1,081.60. So now you take this number here, because we're barely, even though it says year 3 here, but you actually haven't performed this yet. So basically, it's like you're doing the end of the year, Well, how do I get from 3 to the end of the year? Well, to get from here to the end of the year, you have to go through all this to get to your 4th year. Okay? Well, to get to the beginning of the fourth year. That's what it means. All right? So this is how it would work, okay? So after 3 years, the total interest will be $124. And we just found out with simple interest, with the same rate and same amount of time, you only earned $120 interest, simple interest. Compounded, you earn $24.86. So even though it's not much difference, one of them earned 120, this one earned 124, right? 100. What's the whole thing? So one earned 120, the other earned 124. It's only a difference of $4.86. I mean, but if they gave you the choice, in this case, you would choose the compound interest. Okay? So once again, if the rate and the year are the same, then the way to go is to go with compound interest. Yeah, things change when the years and the times are different. Like in one of them, for interest, they'll give you, okay, in 4 years. Well, compound interest will give you 2 years. So the bank gives you choices like that. And then you have to do the calculations so that you'll know which one is best for you. All right, because sometimes the bank is not going to tell you which one's better for you. You have to find this out on your own. So let's see what our note says here. Compound interest. Compound interest can be compounded annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, daily, or continuously. By increasing the frequency that interest is compounded, the interest that is earned also increases. So, I mean, the best thing is that we would have for us, if you have money in the bank, it would better to have our interest compounded continuously, like every minute. You know what I mean? But of course, that wouldn't be good business for the banks. So they'll never offer that to you. So basically, they always usually go by the year, because they have to do it just once a year. Then they don't have to pay much interest. So you always want to choose the smallest number. So you want to, whenever you go to the bank, so well, I want you to go ahead and compound my interest daily. And they're going to probably tell you, oh, no, sorry, we can't do that. Or they'll say, okay, we'll compound it daily, but we'll give you a really small rate, like 0.0003%, where it's not even going to make much difference either. So you'll have to play with all these numbers yourself, but at least you know the formulas now of what's better for you to do. Okay, so let's continue here. Sample number 3. Compare the simple interest and the compound interest earned in examples 1 and 2. Well, I guess we already did that. With simple interest, the average earned each year is 120 divided by 3, or $40 every year. Okay? With compound interest, the interest is added to obtain the starting balance of each year. Compound interest earns more. So this is the part that I just told you. Compound interest earns more interest when the principal interest and the time invested are the same. So the interest rate and the time invested are the same. You want to go with the compound interest because it'll give you slightly more money, more interest for that. All right? Okay, so let's see if you guys can do the following. Got it? Remember, it says here, calculate the interest earned and the total balance of $1,470 is deposited into a savings account that earns 6% compound interest. So automatically you know that you're going to have to do this at least, let me see how many years, compound interest annually for 4 years. You're going to have to do this 4 times. So let me go ahead and start you off on the first one. So if you would make a table, all right, so we're going to put like say year 1, just like the table they have up here. Here, year, starting balance, PRT, interest rate. Okay, so let's start with year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Okay, so year 1, you start off with an investment of $1,470. You're going to take that, you're going to multiply it times your interest. This is your principal, and now let's PRT. You're going to multiply that times your rate. Your rate happens to be 6%, and you know that 6% is equivalent to 0.06. So this is the number that you use. Okay, so you take 1,470 times 0.06 times 1 year. That automatically is going to give you another balance. So let me go ahead and do this on the calculator real quick here. Let's see, I need a 0 here. Multiplication. 1,470 times 0.06 times 1 equals $88.20. So $88.20. So you're going to take this number and you're going to add it to your principal. So 1,470 plus 88.20. 88.20. So if we do that on the calculator, plus 1,470, you get $1,558. So then the new balance for year 2 would be $1,558 with 20 cents. So now you take this number and you do the same formula again. 1,558 with 20 cents times 0.06 times 1. And you will get your new balance. And then you add it to this one, and then you put it here. And then you do it again until you get to your new, the interest you're going to earn in 4 years, plus your new balance. Okay, that's enough for this video. Good luck, guys. For this, I really recommend that you use the calculator, because when you multiply these numbers, it becomes very hectic when you have to multiply a decimal. All right, so try to do it manually and then use your calculator to check your answers. All right, bye-bye.